Good morning and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. Today, what is on my mind? The Obama years. Yes, the Obama years. Okay, so I've been reading some of the comments from yesterday's video, and I decided that today was a good day to do another video on the Obama years because there's a lot of people out there, they're farmer-wise, to say that we had so much better crop prices in the Obama years than we do right now, which is true. That is true. But we also had the highest fertilizer price. We had the highest fuel price. We had the highest equipment prices. We had the highest input prices on seed and everything else that you could possibly think of, right down to the steel that we were putting onto the equipment to make the ground right, to plant it. And that is the truth. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll my ass down here. We had somebody do some math. 216 bushels per acre is a good crop of corn. Embrace the chaos when it comes to politics. I have voted and lost many times. I've voted and won. I think you'll survive if you roll with the punches. I will say it's hard for a conservative to live in a liberal world. Well, you see, the liberal world is an expensive world. If you didn't realize it. See, we can survive on $4 corn and $2, well, a buck. I paid actually $1.62 a gallon for diesel fuel, okay? So $1.62 a gallon for diesel fuel is, in my mind, more profitable than $6, $7 corn. And because when you have $5 a gallon diesel fuel, you have high your natural gas or methane gas to produce nitrogen and everything else that they produce for agricultural input products. And hold on one second. I will say yes. Y-E-S to that, and that'll get him out of my hair. The inputs. So for your disc harrow, the last time I bought discs, they were like $60, $70 each to put on my disc harrow. My disc harrow does need some new discs now, and they're expensive. All that iron gets expensive, and it's inferior iron or steel because it's coming from China. The last discs that I put on a disc that came from China broke up within a year. It was awful. They just broke out of the centers, and a lot of people are going to the vertical tillage machines. They say they're much more durable, but again, a disc harrow versus a vertical tillage machine, which a vertical tillage machine is nothing more than a fancy disc. It has a little straighter blade, and it's meant to pull at a higher speed, which does minimal disturbance of the soil, just breaks it up enough. You go over it twice, and it really just, it does a really nice job. Those turbo tills or John Deere vertical tillage machines, Sunflower's case and all those, they do a really good job, but they are very, 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 very expensive. So it's just one thing after the other gets very expensive. So yeah, back during the let's see, I just want to read this one when I can find it. We can even talk about the vaccinations. I watched a guy on TV get a vaccination yesterday, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The syringe was empty. And then I watched another one this morning, and it was a nurse, and 17 minutes after she got that vaccination, she passed out. She fainted. 17 minutes later. If it happened within a minute, because it takes about a minute for your blood to circulate through your body from your heart back to your heart, 1 minute. So if she was going to faint from maybe that injection going right into a vein or an artery, then there's veins, arteries, and capillaries in your body. So if it went into a vein, it would take just slightly longer, but artery, it would go right to your heart. So anyways, within a minute, but it didn't. It took 17 minutes. It had to circulate and get throughout her whole entire body, from the tips of her fingers to the tips of her toes to the top of her head. And I'm going to sneeze. God bless me. But not really, because God don't bless the wicked. Here it is, Robert Vetter. Farmers can hate on Obama presidency, but those were the years of $7 corn and $14 beans for farmers. Built new shops, built grain bins, upgraded farm equipment, expanded their farms. Yes, absolutely 100% true. They did. They spent a lot of money because the illusion of making money was there at $7 beans, or $7 corn and $14 beans. $7 corn with $5 a gallon diesel fuel, input costs, And believe me, it was in that $4, $5, 380, 411, I think was the highest I paid for farm fuel here. And I paid cheap. It was cheaper here in New Jersey than it was in most of the other country. But we'll just round it to $5 a gallon diesel fuel. So you take that same gallon of diesel fuel to chisel plow, to run if you're going to chisel plow, a lot of people still chisel plow, run the disc harrow or the vertical tillage machine to level it all out, a roller harrow, a brilliant roller harrow, that gets very expensive because you're putting a gallon and a half of diesel fuel for every acre, for every pass, depending on what you're doing, and it's a decent average to go. So if you go over with a chisel plow, you got a gallon and a half. You go over it with a disc, you got a gallon and a half. So you got 3 gallons. You go over it with the corn planter, you got a gallon and a half. Go over it with the combine, gallon and a half. You go over it with a shredder of some sort, and you got a gallon and a half to the acre. So by the time you're done, you've got 5, 6, 7.5 gallons to the acre. All right, 7.5 gallons of diesel fuel to the acre. Oh, and then you've got to dry it. And that propane or natural gas, that price of that stuff gets even more expensive. I know I filled that tank to do 32,000 bushels of corn. I filled that tank 1, 2, 3, 4.5 times, 4.5 times. So let's just say 5 because I had half a tank, filled it up. That was half a tank. There's half a tank in there. There's 5 tanks. 5 tanks, 800 gallons each time because we ran it pretty well empty. 800 gallons. It cost me $5,000 just to $5,000 to dry that 31,000 bushels of corn. So there's $5,000 out the door, plus the electricity. That was $1,000 to do that. There's $6,000 to get that stuff in the bin. And by the time I get it hauled out again, there's probably going to be another $300-$400 worth of electricity to haul it out of there again. So this is rounded up to $7,000 because I got a bin fan that's going to have to run, and I got emptying augers and things like that to get it out of there. Okay, so we'll just say $7,000 on site to get that corn in that bin. That's what it costs me now. But if you double all those costs, like electricity was up high, double from what it is today, and the gas, the propane gas was well over $2 during the Obama years. So we double that. So that $7,000 to get it into that for the same 32,000 bushels from $7,000 to $14,000. Yes. Oh, and then there's the hauling fees. Hauling fees have come down from the time of the Obama administration. Yes, because I was growing corn during the Obama administration and soybeans. The hauling costs have come down. So you might as well just double them hauling costs as well. So the hauling costs are, again, per bushel of soybeans. I think they hit us for 60 cents per bushel because I am so far off the grid, and corn was in that 40 cent range before. Now it seems like it's only 20 cents a bushel. That was the difference between then and today. So double the hauling costs. So by the time you're all said and done, input costs are lower. You can actually fertilize better, with your P and K and other micronutrients today than we could just 5 years ago, 6 years ago, because the input costs are so much lower. Seed costs. I spent 5, 6 years ago for corn over $200 a bag for seed corn. This year I got it for $150, and I got really good quality seed. I mean, like this one fella did my math for me. 216 bushels to the acre. That's about what I averaged. By the time it all went through that bin, it was 216 bushels to the acre on average, which is an awesome average. Not too many people average that. Okay, so there you go. Bob's your uncle, right? There you go. So anyway, so Dan W., he comes along and he's like, he did it generic. I kind of broke it down a little farther than what he did, but part of the reason for this devaluation of our money, which is absolutely true. For those of you who voted for Joe Biden and Camel Toe Harris, you do remember that under a Obama-Biden administration, we went from a AAA credit rating in the world to just a AA. We were reduced, and they devalued our cash, our value of our cash. So If you don't remember that, I just reminded you that we lost our AAA rating under the Obama administration. And we haven't gotten it. I don't know if we've gotten it back yet or not. I haven't heard. You see, the problem with Donald Trump is they won't tell you when something like that happens. Like under Trump, we regained our AAA status. Well, they're not going to say that. So I don't know if we have regained our AAA status or not. But I know under the Obama-Biden administration, we lost our AAA status, which meant our money was not worth in the world as much as it was before that, to that point. So there you go. And I believe the last time we lost our AAA status was under Jimmy Carter, which was, again, a Democrat president. So there you go. Devaluation of our money. Farmers need good demand for their products, no currency instability. Our country as a whole does better when we have a strong dollar. You remember, we were also paying $4 a gallon for gas and $100 for a 5-gallon pail of oil. The price of fertilizer and rent iron also went way up. Oh, I forgot about rent. Rental rates go up because taxation goes up. They tax the piss out of us. When I bought this house, it was $2,200 a year for taxes. I am almost at $7,000 a year. Yes, I live in a Democrat state, a blue state. I am a Republican county in a Democrat state. So there you go. You look at that. Of course, Hugh C., he says Obama didn't know what he was doing. Otherwise, farmers would have lost their butts. Obama didn't know what he was doing. Otherwise, farmers would have lost their butts. Well, I don't know. My ass has been disappearing for the last 10 years. I don't know what happened, but there you go. Yes, and then we were immediately hit with higher cost of all inputs. Fertilizer, this was 57 fitter. All inputs, fertilizer, damn near doubled, but they scaled it back when the grain came down, right? No, they didn't. They have been slowly knocking off the price of fertilizer. And then this year, nitrogen is still too high. I think nitrogen could come down because natural gas is cheap as dirt, and it takes that to make that. So there you go. Yeah. So there's why a lot of this... a lot of people forget really quickly what like a Joe Biden presidency was, under Obama, Biden. We remember high prices of corn, but so many have forgotten the high price of input costs. And if Joe Biden is deemed the winner of this election, because the election technically is not over yet, there are too many discrepancies in this election, whether you want to believe it or not. This election is not over. They are talking about the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act. See, the more people deny that there was a problem with evidence presented, if you've watched the evidence that was presented in this election, you will know that there is hokey shit that went on. Blatant lies from CEOs of Dominion, Smartmatic, and those people. Dominion claims that Smartmatic isn't used. Well, no, it wasn't because they changed the name. But the parent software company was Smartmatic, and they say that the Dominion liar, he was saying that the software never came from Venezuela. Well, it did not come from Venezuela because Hugo Chavez sent the two people that started Smartmatic to Germany to produce this software to be used in Venezuela. It's all a play on words. And if you don't watch these actual news media outlets, news outlets, OAN is my favorite right now. I think Newsmax is a little bit too over the top with a couple of their guys, and even OAN late at night has some wackos on there. But if you look at the non expressioned reporters that are on during the daytime that state the facts as to what is going on, what has happened, and how this is going, that you can believe. CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, whatever the other, your sister's twat and all those other news organizations that all the Democrats love to watch because they just rail on Trump and Republicans, and we're all just a bunch of useless, worthless conservatives that are just going to have to bend over and take it up the ass with a concrete dildo because you know what, we don't matter to them. You see, but we are the people that puts the food on their plate, and that should matter to them. Farmer suicide rates are up. Why are they up? Why are they up? They shouldn't be up, but they are up. They're up all over the world. I've been hit with COVID problems now for the last, well, since it hit, since April when they cut back my hay production. It's like, oh, wait a minute. They're still buying it. They're still taking it. They're still doing it, but they're not paying on time. It's like there's a 2-week skip, and then you get a big chunk of money, and then they'll trickle some loads into you, and before you know it, between two mushroom barns, they owe you $100,000. $100,000 to me is really not that much money because I go through $100,000 in a month and a half. Okay, that's what it takes to run this farm. It takes $100,000 every month and a half just to run this farm, and that is really kind of not too comfortable. I could definitely deal with 110. Let's just put it this way: if I got a $75,000 a month, I'd probably be a lot more comfortable than what I am right now. That's in bills. I pay $70,000 in bills. If I had $80,000 a month, which would put me at about $160,000 every month and a half or a month, 2 months. So yeah, $80,000 a month. That wouldn't be too terribly bad. Then I could live a little more comfortably because, as you see, all that iron and the electric and all this other stuff that we're doing on the farm with maintenance and repairs and payroll. Payroll's a big one. That's $11,000-$12,000 a month for me. Just so you know, it does. And then in the summertime when we're doing the straw jobs, it gets higher because I have more people running and more hours going in. Well, right now I feel I'm getting stung a little bit because I'm paying payroll for guys to sort bolts. I got my nephew, he's sorting bolts right now while I'm here sitting in this chair talking about this stuff. So yeah, I would rather have $4 corn, $4.25 corn with a $1.62 a gallon diesel fuel. I'm happy with that. That'd be fine. Equipment costs could come down a little bit, and I feel that they are a little bit. Used equipment, I wouldn't buy new equipment at this point other than a baler or some the real expensive the things I depend on the most, the balers and the mowers. They always get bought new. Tractors are a dime a dozen. If I blow up a tractor, I can either rebuild it or I can go buy another one. No problem. They're everywhere. It doesn't even matter. It's not even that hard to come by a tractor. It's like, oh shit, a tractor blew up out of the transmission and the engine let loose. Ah, fuck it, I'm just going to scrap this bad boy. And $125,000 later, I got a tractor. It's no big deal. Not $300,000. A 6250R was $300. I priced one $306,000 with a loader on it. $306,000 for a loader on it. I bought the 6210R, had 3,000 and some hours on it for $125,000 by the time it was done. So that had the loader on it, $125,000. So where are we at? Less than a third of what a brand new one would cost, really. So close to a third anyway. But anyways, I'm talking fast, and I want to put this up, and you guys just understand that the Insurrection Act, they're talking an awful lot about that right now. If you don't know what the Insurrection Act is, it has been used in the past, and it has been used when the integrity of the election is in question. And people that deny this, it is just it basically puts the military in place of everybody else to get an accurate count. They will take over this election. They will seize and confiscate Dominion voting machines, run the forensic analysis on them, which we are being denied access to those. There was one machine or one county, Antrim County in Michigan, that had 21 machines. They did the forensic analysis on 21 machines, and those 21 machines came back at 68% error rate. If that does not alarm you, 6.8 error rate should alarm you because that means the election. 68%? 68%. That's a lot of error. That's a F++ or F minus if you took a test. If you had 68% error, what are you, 42%? You got 42% on the test? Fuck that, man. There's something really wrong. And if you're a Democrat and you're watching this and that doesn't alarm you, the 68% error rate on the machines that are supposed to tabulate our election to get a free and fair election, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Part of the solution would be as if Democrats and Republicans stood together and said, listen, we really don't care who got elected as long as it was free and fair. And that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, well, you're just pissed off because he lost. Well, did he lose? That's the question. We don't know, because when you get 68% error, how do you know whether he's lost? I would say not. I watched the graft go like this. Donald Trump was up, and then, we're going to stop counting, and then it was, what the fuck is that? But whatever. I guess I'm done ranting, and Louis Bilborough on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day. Oh, Eastern Shore Farmer. Check him out. He's all right.